Hello everybody and welcome back to G-Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. January 17th, 2020. Yep, 2020, but then I repeat myself. All right. Anyway, we're looking at the setup I put in here today because it was cold and windy all morning. It's still a little windy right now, but not too bad. So I set up this little table in here, and two chairs I don't use, so they'll hold up that piece of OSB, no problem. I got my other started plants are up on the top, and then I started a bunch of new seeds today. And I also planted that, or transplant, I actually planted it because they were what they call bare root. That grapevine and this pear tree were bare root units. So I had to get them out of the plastic bags that they came in down there and get them into soil so you can start spreading their roots and get strong before I take them out in the springtime and plant them. And they are going inside the garden house so the critters won't get at them. So I lost $300 worth of trees my first year out here to all the critters. Those of you who remember my old videos, I had an orchard on the other side of the containers going, and left for a couple of days to come back, and the trees were completely stripped of fruit, leaves, bark, and roots. It didn't take them long to wipe it out. They had a party here. I could hear the loud music all the way down to the OC. All right. Anyway, yeah, this is a grapevine. This is a seedless purple grape. Almost what I want. I'm looking for Concord grape. I've had one before. I had a lot of success with it down in the OC. Great tasting grapes, even though they have seeds in them. They make great grape jelly, grape juice, and grape wine. So I'm going to try these. They're seedless, but I'm going to try making some wine out of these and see how it comes out. It's already got buds on it. So it's indoors here where it's warm. And yes, since I put this insulation up here on the ceiling, it is really warm in here. This morning when I got up, it was 30 degrees outside and 51 degrees inside here without a heater running. So that's amazing. It's just a little pilot light on that thing was keeping that temperature up here 21 degrees warmer than the outside. I got all my plants here started, and I'll go around here and show you. I got my garlic here. I got peppermint. I like peppermint for certain things that I do, some of my baking stuff, but also peppermint's supposed to be the best thing for keeping rats away. So I'm going to wait until it gets a little stronger because I just repotted it, and I'm going to take some of the branches off of that and toss them up in my attic. And I'll get into that a little later, but I think I've found how these little buggers are surviving and getting in and what they've been eating. Anyway, yeah, I've got some Camaroso strawberries here, 2 of them. Got my spinach here. Of course, I said the garlic already. And then down here, I got watermelon. And these are from the seeds from the watermelon that I grew last year. The garden bean, the tenderettes, you see the holes are in here. I got 2 holes per section. And there's no beans in there yet because they're over here soaking in water. Along with my corn and my other type of corn. So this corn is the sweet corn. It's a Golden Cross Bantam. And this one is the sweet corn Farm Fresh. So I'm going to have 2 different types of corn growing this year. All right, then all my tomatoes are here. I got my early girls here, and I'm trying something. This is in the garden soil, and this one is in compost to see which one sprouts faster. Okay, I got Ace tomato bush, tomato Crimson Cushion heirlooms, large cherry red. This is a husky cherry red that one of the branches I took off of this one. This is indeterminate, so I did stick it in some soil and see if it takes. And this is my other cherry Husky Cherry Red. I wrote it on the stick. This one's Roma back here. And that one is Better Bush back there. So that one, the cold got to the leaves, but it'll be fine. It'll come back. And then, of course, here, these are sugar peas, sugar pod peas, or pea pod. I love those things, and they're a climbing vine, so I put the sticks in there. Then down here, I got my seeds in for my jumbo jalapenos and my cantaloupes, the heart of gold cantaloupes. Then here I got two types of cucumbers. This is the pickling cucumber, and this is the salad slicer. And in here I got two types of lettuce started, Nevada and Black Seed Simpson. So all of those should start up pretty soon. My bell pepper, this is a California Wonder bell pepper, and you know, I can get green or red off of these, because you just pick them when they're green or let them go to red. So those are great bell peppers. And like I said, the tenderettes will go in later, and so will the corn. Back there I got my cauliflower, 2 plants of cauliflower. That's usually plenty for me. And the season, they like the cooler season, so those will not survive when the hot summer weather gets here. So I'm just going to have 2 of them this year anyway. Then I got to take my radish seeds outside and get them into my self-watering garden out there, the gutter garden. And I've got 4 other types of lettuce here. This is the Giant Caesar, Sugarloaf, Igloo, and Iceberg A. So I'm going to get those planted out there also. Lettuce comes up really fast, so I have to eat lettuce with salads every day, or I lose a lot of it. But I just, whatever is not used goes to the chickens anyway, so it saves me on chicken feed. All right, so I got here, also I got this delicious tomato, world record size, full sun. I'm going to try planting some of those and see how those go. And that's all seeds that I've started already, and some that I haven't started because it's a little too early for them. There'll be summer plants. All right. So we got through all of that. I got TV on, and that's a San Diego channel. And for those of you who don't know, San Diego is roughly 186 miles south of me, so that's quite a ways down. All right. So, with that being said, I was out in the garden house today, and I watered my plants and fertilized my trees and all that stuff. And I wanted to cover that stuff. So next, I was also asked, somebody mentioned to one of my followers that wind turbines are really noisy. Okay, well, if your turbine is really noisy all the time, there's a problem with the balance of the blades on it, or the hub, and that's what's causing you loud noises. Mine is noisy anywhere from 7 to 9 miles per hour. In that wind range, you can hear it humming, and I can, as soon as I hear the hum, I can tell you what the wind speed is, because I'm so used to it. But yes, they do make a little noise, but only at that speed. Once the wind picks up, it gets quiet. And that's because this is a PMA, or a permanent magnet alternator. And the sound of those magnets going past each other usually makes a little bit of a sound until they get up to speed, and then you don't hear it anymore. All right, so next in line, and I hope you don't mind staring at my plants while I do this, but I was also asked about a list of top 10 tools. And I mentioned yesterday or the day before, I forget which one, that there's a lot more than 10 tools, but I'm going to go with the top 10. And I'm just going to start this off. And I know there are a lot of other tools, and there are A lot of people out there are going to say, what about this and what about that? Okay, everybody's situation is going to be different when you go out homesteading. These are what I found most useful for desert. Okay, now if you're going out to places where there's going to be a lot of trees and shrubbery and things like that, you're probably going to want to throw in a chainsaw also, and then a chainsaw sharpener, and all of the other stuff to go along with a chainsaw. But let's start with my list here. Okay, one of the things that I think is like the number one thing that I've used the most of out here is a post hole auger. I got a 2-stroke post hole auger from Harbor Freight Tools. I forget, it was $100 and something, $129 or whatever, on sale with a 20% coupon. But that's a little 2-stroker, and yes, that thing is a godsend when you're out in the desert. You're going to be putting in poles all the time, whether it's fence poles or flag poles or TV antennas or poles to hold up awnings, whatever. You're always going to be putting holes in. But also, you can use that post hole auger for if you're going to trench for a long distance and the ground's a little hard to get through. Instead of using a pick to pick it, just take your post hole auger and drill a series of holes in the ground and then connect the dots with a trenching shovel. And so, yeah, you can use that for that. And I use it to dig my outhouse. I drilled like 8 or 9 holes in a square area, and then I just dug out the soft soil out of the center. It was a lot easier than trying to dig through there with a shovel and a pick. Trust me. You can also keep the walls pretty squared when you're digging a deep hole like that, because the post hole auger will go down about 2.5 feet straight down, and then you can dig out that, and then you can get down in the hole, and you can go down another 2.5 feet if you want. So yeah, it's a great tool, and I have to rate that one like up there with number one of the things that you can use. I'm right beside it, and this is not a second tool, but this is in the same type of thing, air compressor. You definitely want to have your air compressor, because tires going to go flat, wheelbarrow tires, things like that. You got to have an air compressor. So post hole auger and air compressor, I think, are right at the top of the list. All right, so next we're going to say the next thing I really like, because like I said, you do a lot of digging and a lot of trenching when you're getting started. If you're going to building a cabin, you got to trench for the footing and so forth and so on. So you're going to be doing a lot of digging. So besides the obvious different shovels, I say the shovels get 1 square, 1 round, or 2 of each, and an irrigation trencher. That's a little 4-inch wide curved shovel. That's what they use for putting sprinklers in. But a lot of times you're just going to be burying a water line from your water tank to your cabin. You don't need to dig a really wide hole, so that little tool is a great thing. So those are your shovels. But besides all of that, I say the number 2 thing is an electric jackhammer with 2 detachable tools, a pin for getting through rock and things like that, and then the other one is a spade trencher. It's a wide 6-inch wide spade that goes on there, and sometimes when you're digging, you're going to get down a few feet and the ground's going to be really hard and compacted underneath. So that little electric jackhammer does a great job of getting down through that that stuff. All right. And then, of course, you're going to need a table saw and a miter saw. You can get away with just the table saw, but I find using a miter saw for cutting the 2x4s for studs and things like that, you can do a lot more, a lot faster than you can with a table saw. So the table saw you're going to use for ripping wood, and then of course you want to have a skill saw also, because sometimes you can't handle a big sheet, a 4x8 sheet yourself on a table saw. So you can use a skill saw to cut that. And then, of course, a jigsaw. And these are all electric tools. And that's going to lead me down to the number one stuff that you need to prepare for is electricity. When I came out, I was prepared by having solar panels on my van with a yellow top deep cycle battery inside. Well, actually, I had 2 batteries inside, and a 3,000 watt inverter. And I could park the van in the sun out here, and I could work all day off of that power. So that's another thing that you want to have is electricity. You could bring a generator out, but the generator is going to require you to have fuel, and you're going to have to run it on fuel. So I don't care if you use propane, gasoline, diesel, whatever, you're still going to have fuel on that. I prefer having the solar panels, and I just use the Harbor Freight solar panels on top of my van, and I made a rack for them out of a regular roof rack set I got at Pep Boys. And I put the yellow top deep cycle batteries. Those things last forever. Mine is going on 5 years old now, and it still works great every day. And 3,000 watt Harbor Freight inverter in there. You probably get a better one online, but that's one I bought at the time, and it's still working. It still does its job. And I can run my air compressor off of that. I can run my jackhammer off of that. I can run drills and things like that. The all that stuff all runs off of that little bit of solar. So you have solar power while the sun is out. During the day, you can get your work done. And I ran my table saw and that stuff off of it when I was building out here, when I was doing the original building for the pedestal for the water tank and stuff like that. This list is taking a little while to go through, so I am going to cut this one off today, and we'll get back into some more tools that should be on your list of things that you're going to need when you start homesteading. All right, everybody. G-Bear reminding you, give me a thumbs up down there. Don't forget, if you have questions or comments, you can leave those down below. Try to keep them short because I do get quite a few of them during each day, and I have to answer everybody. And sometimes I have to sleep, even though on my planet we don't sleep at all. Down here on this planet, I have to sleep every now and then. Yeah, right. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this, and we'll get back into some more of the list tomorrow. This is G-Bear signing off.